So today's video I'm going to be showcasing more of Maximum Football brokenness, but as you guys witness gameplay footage of Maximum Football, I'm going to be updating you guys on ESG Football. But before I get into that, has anybody noticed during the coin toss for online rank matches, you don't have the option to choose heads or tails? Anyways, other than that issue, and before I continue on showcasing more Maximum Football footage, let me update you guys on ESG Football beta, as well give you guys a recap of the tournament that just went down over the weekend. So first things first, let's go ahead and take a look at the schedule. So we got a brand new schedule heading in for the beta of what we are doing on a day-to-day basis. So Monday is just giving feedback from all the bugs and issues for the developers to address, fix, and then give basically your feedback overall. Then Tuesday, we are onboarding new users. So for those that do sign up to play in the beta, which the link is down below in the description to join the waiting room Discord, you guys will get a pretty much orientation breakdown, practice, and tutorial guide once you guys get into the actual Discord beta playtest room, and we will help you guys out learn the game and much more. It used to be on Fridays every single week, but now we're upping up the amount of people that we're going to be implementing as new users. So we're kicking things off earlier in the week, which is going to be on Tuesday, and probably daily, depending on how the devs end up bringing new players in and how many at a time. Then Wednesday, we have a snake draft night, and then the preseason for the weeknight tournament, which will kick off on Thursday. So this is just a midweek tournament. So instead of just having weekly tournaments, we're going to try to do 2 tournaments a week. So kind of adapts to people that have work on weekends and vice versa. So giving everybody opportunity to play. So having this format is a great opportunity for everybody to, show off the skills and all that stuff. And then Friday, of course, the onboarding more users, remaining users, that is. And then, of course, a tax strategy, which I can't get too much into. Then Saturday, going to have another weekend draft, which is in the early evening Eastern time. And then Sunday is the weekend tournament. I believe we just hit a new goal mark for the Discord waiting room for new users trying to get into the beta playtest. So every time we hit a certain amount of users getting into the playtest beta, we do get a new skin for all the playtesters for ESG Football. So I'm looking forward to seeing who, as a content creator, or what cosmetic skin that we're going to be seeing in the playtest. Now, just updating a ton of you guys that are especially Xbox users, or you guys have been asking about, is the beta going to be coming to Xbox? Unfortunately, no. Reason for that is because PlayStation has a better optimization performance. It's better than the Xbox. And basically because of that, there's no reason for them to test on Xbox. But when the game drops, it will be both ready and available for both consoles. So they didn't update the tournament bracket, but this was one of the last updates for the tournament bracket. So obviously you guys are seeing all the team coaches' names. So I was on the team of Key Greens, and we pretty much went undefeated and went all the way to the championship. So this is my second time competing in the championship. We did end up facing Zay's team in the championship, and buddy, it was disappointing because we fought our way all the way to the top, and just in the semifinal match against Green Light was probably the sweatiest match I have been a part of, and it was epic. And just to get past them into the championship was wild, and to have been disqualified in the championship due to the fact that one of our players cheated with his player build and broke one of the rules of having more than 7 skill sets was heartbreaking. And my God, this was a great team. We had a great team scheme, communication, adapting, and everything just clicked. And this team was a really well-rounded team. And I was leading at quarterback, and to have helped take my team all the way to the top just for that to happen was very, very disappointing. Shout out to the dev on the other team, Lamont, catching that. Like, honestly, I didn't even know this myself. And obviously, if I noticed that from my teammate, I would have let him know to correct his build. But, of course, we got to obey the rules. And shockingly, nobody else noticed that. And when you think about it, I kind of think about how other teams, if they ended up acknowledging their builds or not, as to catching their opponents, if somebody made a build that had more than 7 skill sets, or even their own teammates. It is what it is, but this goes to show that people has to read and obey the rules. So that's another good thing for a learning curve for a lot of people that's coming in as well. You guys have to read and understand what you're reading and obey the information and rules that's given. So this was a good learning curve for a lot of people to take this into consideration as well. So because of that, we had to be forfeiting the championship. Now, what does that mean for the contenders? Well, they didn't get a free ring. So the team that we beat in the semifinals, which was Greenlight's team, they had the opportunity to play in the championship. But even if they win, they wasn't going to count it as a championship ring for them. But it kind of voids the whole outcome of this tournament. So I like this method. And then also, if they did lose, well, it benefits Zay's team to actually win a championship ring. So Greenlight's team ended up beating Zay's team, and the whole tournament was pretty much avoided. But at the same time, it's like, man, we played this whole tournament for nothing just because of that situation. But it is what it is. And all I can say, I was able to prove myself a little bit and give a better insight of what a lot of people don't really do throughout this playtest. That we noticed there has been a ton of mobile quarterbacks, and I was the only one that brought out a pure passing build. So it is possible to pass the ball. So each tournament, we really get to see kind of like meta stuff. What's the go-to builds? What people are rocking? What's the best way to run plays? What's the cheesiest plays and all that stuff? So each tournament, you get to learn something, try to adapt, see what you can do to stop something or beat something. So that's great learning curves overall for each of these tournaments that happen, and it's great to witness all these type of different outcomes. So I appreciate all the acknowledgement from, my coach, other members in the Discord, obviously the developers like you guys see here with Ray and much more. Giving my props for bringing in a pocket quarterback and passing the rock, because once again, we have been seeing, you know, everybody pretty much run kind of like Bummy's build, which is kind of like the mobility quarterback deal, the Michael Vick build, the Lamar Jackson type of builds. And they think that passing the ball, you can't do it, and you can. So there's a variety of options and ways to really play this game. And it just comes down to teamwork, team communication, team adapting, and all that stuff. It really takes a team to um, make these outcomes happen based off your scheme and stuff and execute plays. Now, this was the first time that we competed at one specific overall, which was the 97 overalls, and it's the highest overall that we was able to compete in. Usually, we have various overalls ranging from 90 through 94 to compete in for different server capacity and just having multiple games go on at once. And because of that, it gave everybody that extra skill set, which would be like a third copycat. So, for instance, everybody was making small graded players with triple speedsters. So they can have like 105 or 95, like a high speed rating. They wanted speed players on the field. And like I said, that's great and all. But at the same time, you're not going to have opportunity to have skill sets balanced in other areas. Like I was so dominant at passing for the reason fact that a lot of people didn't have patrollers, and because of the feature that's in the game that we have, well, if you don't have patroller or high patroller, you're not going to really see any skill players running their routes on the field. So you're just going to be blinded out there. And I was able to throw deep for the most part. Now, this is a preview of what the snake draft is. So, what the snake draft is that you're going to have a certain amount of coaches. I believe we have 16 coaches during this tournament. So, this was a much more bigger tournament that we hosted. And each coach will have a total amount of money, which is just 100 points basically. And you would cater those points in a bidding auction. So, you would pick a player, you say, oh, I want put $5 down on that player, and then everybody will bid on that player to try to get them. So that's what the snake draft is, and this is really cool concept because You can risk the amount of money that you have for a person. So, for instance, you take a look at my team, which is on the far right, Key Greens. I was the first one to get picked up for his team. He bid at 30. I think it was like 25 or something like that. And then it kept going up. And, finished off with a max of 30 points that he bid on me. And he was able to successfully get me. And then you see other teams like pitching in, like for K's World, Pat One of None. He ended up going for like 48 points. And that's pretty high, but a lot of times, the best players is going to go for a high amount. And then, you try to steal some hidden gem players with low amount depending on how much cash you have available left. And what's cool about this is that other people can just, lie about their bids. So, like, for instance, they could have kept lying about trying to get me and just keep making somebody spend a ton of points on me. And then by the time they get me up very high, then they're not going to have much points to try to get other players that they really want on their team. So, this is a interesting method. Now we do have like two type of different drafts that we do. This is one of them, and then I believe the other one's just like a random automatic draft placement, like you just get put randomly on the team. But yeah, this is really cool. It changes up the whole dynamic of, getting the same players over and over, but you really get to see a pretty cool dynamic, like who's best of the best. And it goes to show people are making statements, making plays, and it's going to show through the scouting report when people look at your play style and how you compete, then you're going to get picked up with, a high bid. So it's cool to see this. Now, last tournament, a ton of people was doing like kind of like this. I want to say it's like a meta thing, but it's really not meta. There's really no meta in the game. It's just how people are going to play their part, play their role, listen to adjustments, and execute on plays. Like I said, this game is completely different than Madden College Football. In last tournament, everybody just continuously tries to do the same thing, like the RPO, the same formations, or like scramble around with the quarterback off a bunch set, and it just comes down to once again everybody adapting, adjusting, listening, executing, and then showing off their skills to make plays, especially breaking down, tackling. And when people don't do that, people are obviously going to be able to do the same thing and dominate with the same play because obviously they're, picking plays, running plays towards people's weaknesses. And it shows. And the team that I was on, I was able to have a good rounded base team that had, great skills, and I was able to adjust players as well. They was making callouts on adjustments for their position, like the lineman was making callouts for each other, and I was controlling the DBs of what they needed to do. But, I was picking plays to make sure to get my guys in the right place based off certain formations that we faced against. Like our tournament play was pretty much our defense. Our defense locked up a lot of people. And then, of course, what the so-called meta plays are, we was able to dominate against scrambling quarterbacks, RPO plays, and we just done a fantastic job at executing. And that's what it comes down to in this game. The communication, the teamwork. This game is a true dynamic, strategic gameplay experience. You don't get nothing like this in any other game. Possibly NBA 2K, but it's not that detailed or not that um kind of knowledgeable experience when it comes to playing a football game. It's a whole different atmosphere, and ESG Football really knows the mark of how they went about, this experience, and then as well having that simulation factor with football in general. The gameplay is just so dynamic. But anyways, if you guys are looking forward to joining in the playtest beta, check out the links down below in the description. The game is releasing soon. Like I said, they plan on dropping it before Madden 26. They are also gearing up to drop their deep dive trailer. Not sure the exact date, but you guys got to stay tuned and be on the lookout for that. Other than that, let me know if you guys got any questions down below. Shout out to all the competitors from this past tournament. I wish I was able to win my second championship because how it was looking, it looked we was going to be able to sweep our contenders in the championship, and man, it would have been great if we was going to be able to do that and I was going to win my second chip. So I was just glad I was able to make it to the championship. Um, Kind of get my name out there a little bit more at the quarterback position, as well, letting it be known that you can make a pocket quarterback or a quarterback that can pass the ball more than being a mobile quarterback. Anything's possible in ESG football, and it just comes down to who can execute things better, who can adapt, who can have that team bond, that chemistry, that teamwork to make things possible. So, anyways, guys, hope you guys enjoyed kind of today's recap. Man, I wish I can showcase footage. Like, I would do so much breakdowns and give you guys a bunch of tips and tricks and things of that sort, but I just can't yet. And also, when the game drops, I'm streaming this thing all the time. So, anyways, if you guys got any questions, let me know down below in the comments. Other than that, that's about it. I'll see you guys in the next update video of ESG Football. I am out. Peace.